What is up, you guys? Welcome to my second channel called TJ Hunt Clips. Today we're gonna do a little bit of a deep dive on the crashed RS. Now, in our first video that we released on our main channel, I showed you guys the car, we removed the engine, and we removed a lot of components about this, but one thing I didn't cover in that video is the list of parts that we need to order for this. Now, if you watch that video, you will also know that this chassis is not savable. The chassis is beyond repairable. There's actually a crazy one. If you sit right here.
Yeah, right there.
If I come all the way to the other side of the car.
That is wild.
And that crack, actually, we didn't show this in the main video, but that crack actually got larger as we started to remove the cage in the car. Well, the cage is still in the car, but yesterday Calvin and I spent some time trying to remove it, and all the hardware is out of it, and we've even disconnected the cage, and there's some movement here, but the thing is still wedged in there, which shows how much stress was on the chassis and how much the roll cage was actually doing and kind of keeping the chassis a little more straight. And once we removed all the bolts, that crack started to actually get larger. It was like not even half as big as it was. So this thing is beyond repairable. It's not even worth fixing it. So there's gonna be something coming for this, but beyond the car, the interior of it is actually pretty good. I need to get a vacuum and vacuum out all the glass. I don't know why we just kept that. We were like crawling all over it yesterday, but we're gonna be able to salvage out the door cards, the dash. The steering wheel is still good, and this car only had 5,000 miles on it. So it's a 2019. It's pretty low for 2019, considering my RS, I just hit 20,000 miles yesterday. So the interior is in really good shape. We should be able to squeak some money out of it, which was a really big buy when I bought this, because I knew that the chassis was probably gonna be beyond repairable. And I saw with the seats, the interior, and we already removed it, but all the brake components in the car, actually, we can show this one right here, Twan. They're all still good. The front right rotor is actually damaged. Well, actually, keep the camera on me, Twan. We'll go here to the back.
I know the wheel's super bent, but
The wheel's super bent, and I actually haven't investigated this yet. And the reason why we haven't done it is because this uses a center lock, and a center lock is extremely difficult to.
Yeah, that's
straight. Yeah, rotor's in half. So I don't know if the caliper might still be salvageable. Actually, probably not, because the wheel's touching the caliper right there. We're also in the middle of a giveaway right now. If you guys don't know, we're giving away our Mark IV Supra that we just built. And huntandcompany.com has a ton of new items, anything from accessories to we even got zip ties, brand new zip ties, t-shirts, hats, anything automotive related. So if you haven't already, you can click the links down below to go to the huntandcompany.com. You can check it out. You can put an order. Every $1 you spend gets you one entry. But we've been ripping off orders. We got an order here from Federico Orapaza Bal. I butchered that. From Coronado. That's in San Diego. He ordered a pair of zip ties and a Hunt & Co racing sticker. Nicholas Payne, Sacramento, California, ordered a slant sticker, and he also ordered zip ties. People are all over the zip ties. I'm gonna butcher this one. Kai Tyne, Kenwood, Michigan. I butchered it. A jet tag and zip ties. Lastly, Randy Howell ordered some zip ties. We're ripping orders every day, getting them out as fast as possible. Every $1 you spend, get you one entry. You can click the links down below. Go check it out. This thing's probably completely toast, but we have 3 rotors and calipers that are all still intact. And if you go and order a brand new rotor from Porsche at the Carbon Ceramics, it's either like $5,000 or $7,000. So you get a used set of all 4 of them. It's anywhere from 20 to 25. So we have about $15,000 on a good day if we can individually part each of them out for $5,000 still in the car. So there's still some goodies on it, but I want to talk about all the stuff I've ordered so far, because as you can imagine, ordering pieces for a GT3RS is not cheap. Now, a lot of the stuff that I've already ordered, we'll talk about on the engine, because when I bought the car, I was hoping the engine wouldn't have too much damage to it. Now we're looking at the back of the engine right here. So the rear bumper sits right here. Now the car was crashed on a 360 degree, like every area is pretty beat up, but the rear end suffered quite a bit of damage as well. And a lot of the infrastructure components were smashed in. Here, stay here, Twan. Let me go grab. Actually, yeah, you said it.
I'll try to show them a little bit more of the damage if they didn't catch it in the last video. That's fucked up. This one's a bit blown out. Same with this one.
So these plates all attach to the back of the engine, and this plate cover attaches to the engine, and then you can see the top right, that's actually a motor mount. There's 6 different motor mounts, or like points of where the subframe and the motor connect together, and we obviously had to replace all of those pieces, and you could see on the block, there's casting right here that was cracked off. The top right water pump cover plate is blown apart. The bottom of the water plate is bent, and then this little dowel is bent. And then also, if you come over to this other side, this is the side of the coil. Our front right coil suffered a little bit of damage. It looks a little, we found a crack on it earlier today. I'm looking at the wrong one, actually.
I was like, I couldn't see.
I'm so sorry. This side. So this coil's cracked right there, and we obviously, and right here, and then the whole entire plug is destroyed. And then the DME connector, the other part of the ECU, is blown apart too. So we're gonna go shopping. We're gonna put all these on order, which we have a Porsche rep that has been helping us. And when it comes to ordering parts for a crashed Porsche, there are things you can buy and things you cannot buy. The things you cannot buy, I say you cannot buy them because unless you are a certified Porsche collision center, you cannot buy them. Those things being structural parts, anything that relates to the actual tub structures, you cannot buy as an individual party. And you might just say, well, can you go to a Porsche collision center and buy it through them? You actually cannot. There's been some stories of other people doing that. Like let's say, for example, let's say SOS Customs. SOS Customs does body work on cars, but they're also an insurance collision center. SOS is not a Porsche collision center. They don't have that certificate. So I'm just using them as an example here, but they do not have a
You got it.
certification with Porsche collision. Sorry, it's a little early in the morning. So I can't order it to them. But let's say I was like, hey, SOS, can I order these parts from you? I need to order, some structural stuff for my car. If they were to say yes, which they're not allowed to, and they were to sell me these parts as a friend, because they know we can do the work, and they were to sell me the front tub replacements, and Porsche was to find out that they didn't do the work in their own shop, they would lose their whole entire certification, and there might be a fine penalty. I don't know about that, but there has been some cases of people doing that or shops doing that, and they get busted. So you can't do that. And if you can find a shop to do it, sick, but don't get caught doing it. But everything else is fair game. So I've already wrote up a quote, and we'll go over all of that. We wrote up a quote for, this is the water housing plate. That plate is actually, you can order all that and the bolts. And then this is actually the thermostat, and there's a thermostat like return line, like a metal line that presses in here and goes up. We were able to order that. All of these plugs are actually Audi plugs. So we can place an order for that. The coils we can order, and then what's really cool, which I didn't, I feel like when we did the Ferrari rebuild, we weren't able to do this. But you can actually replace all of these plugs and repin them yourself. You don't have to buy a whole new harness or try to find this and chop it and get it to work. We've had other instances in the past, like on our Supra, we had to do this. We had to replace some of the harness and the plugs, and you couldn't buy the plugs individually. So we had to like buy stuff from overseas that was out before the US spec Supras were, and it's a nightmare. So we're actually able to order all of those. We're going to be placing an order for a front right axle or a rear right axle. Other than that, that's actually the only damage that the engine took. Now, all of this stuff obviously won't be factored into what we're spending today, but we'll have someone who specializes in this type of repair come in, lay down some material, grind it, and then retap all these holes. It's all salvageable. It's all worth saving. If we were to have any problems with this engine and have to get a new one, it'd be about $40,000 for a used one. So definitely want to do everything we can to save this. And judging by our oil dump and checking the filter, there was no shavings or anything like that. Not that a crash would cause any sort of internal damage on a motor, but you know, there was a good amount of oil under the skid plate under the engine, and when we have certain drains and stuff broken, you obviously have to question and wonder, damn, was this car still running after the crash and losing oil pressure while the car was running? Or when this went to the dismantler, did they run the car with 0 oil pressure and potentially cause any scarring or damage on the inside? All problems that we want to think about. So we are going to be performing a leak down and compression test today. You'll see that on the main channel. But as far as parts and repairs for this engine, that should be it. So let's head to the inside of the computer, do some shopping, and let's look at our quote. All right, so let's pull up my classified Porsche emails here. It's not classified, that's just a joke. But here is our quote so far. So I have opted to expedite everything. So Porsche gives you 2 options. Most of these parts all come from Germany. None of it is stocked here in the US. So you can either do a flat rate, which maybe costs like, you know, $15, and you can wait 5 to 6 weeks.
Damn.
Definitely don't want that. Or they have an expedited option. I think it can cost anywhere from $50 to $100, depending on how big each piece is, for 5 to 7 days. That's amazing. I can't express that with builds that we've done. I mean, when we did our crashed Audi R8, when we did our 458, we were actually able to do a lot of that stuff for the Ferrari secondhand used, because there's a lot of them out there. But for the R8, I had to do pretty much everything from Germany, and it they didn't always have that option, so it's really nice to do that. Okay, just give me a second while I'm pulling this up. Okay, so far we have, oh, there's a lot of emails here.
That's dope.
Is that a cool angle? Mm-hmm. So, both items arrived. So for our water pump plate, and with the supplied hardware, and for our thermostat housing, that comes into a total with the freight charge at $977.85. I have more, just stand by. And then additionally, we're going to be placing an order for the passenger side coil plug, the replaced plug for the DME, and we have a coil, the coil itself. So, sorry, I'm going to say that again. So also for the coil plug, and the DME plug, and for the 3 additional plates, and the supplied hardware, and the extra dowels that were missing, all of those with an additional expedite price of $72, which is pretty cheap in my opinion. All of that comes into a total of $769.65, with a grand total of somewhere around $1,800 or so. So far, spending $1,800 just on replacing the engine parts alone is pretty good. Now you notice on there I didn't include the axle, because I think we'll probably be able to find that in the used market. Where we can get used parts, we're doing it. Obviously things that don't have too much wear and tear, we want to go for that. But for the engine, we're going ahead and we're doing mainly new stuff, just because you can't get these random coil packs, plugs used. That's just not going to happen. So there's still going to be quite a bit of additional buying. I imagine that we'll probably spend throughout this build, and I don't want to give stuff away, but like I said, the chassis was written off, so we're going to need to get a new one. We'll probably have another $25,000 to $35,000 in additional repairs, not including a different chassis. So we're going to try to stay in the under the ballparks of $160,000 and $170,000 in total to make this build profitable, because what's really fun is buying cars and saving them, but what's really fun is finding good deals, finding good parts, and trying to rebuild it in-house for a total price that is cheaper than what the market is currently going for. And then you have a little bit of profit on it when you decide to let them go, which is always a great plus and a cool thing that you guys can try at home if you ever wanted to look at crash cars and rebuilding them. You know, spending the time to find good deals and pull the trigger on good deals is really fun, because you have the opportunity to own cars you probably wouldn't ever get your hands on or have the opportunity to buy. And then when you're done with them, you could sell them for some profit, and everyone loves a little bit of profit. So right now, we're at a total with the car being purchased at $62,000. We're probably at right under $65,000 just for some seats, interior, and an engine and trans that is ready to rock and roll. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. I wanted to make a little side video on the second channel just talking about what it's going to cost to get this car back to normal, because that's always fun and not something we always do a very in-depth look on the main channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel to get more behind the scenes. The second channel gets a lot of love, so if you're new here, welcome. And boys, I'll see you in the next clip.